All right, guys, welcome back. This is Frank again with Airlines Tycoon Manager. Um, I'm gonna making some new videos here. A lot of things have changed since the last updates. New stuff has been implemented in the game, so for the most part, I am gonna cover some of the stuff that I've covered in the past. I'm also going to be addressing some of the questions that a lot of you guys are asking regarding staffing, services, things like that. Okay. So, but this is really intended for new players. So if you're new and you're watching this, hopefully you've probably already started, and meaning you have at least one hub and maybe a couple planes, and you're kind of wondering what to do at this point. So real quick here, when you first start the game, this is going to open up this main window right here. Of course, on the very top, you have your balance, your coins, and your travel cards. Don't forget to claim your past cards down here. This is, if you're playing Tycoon, this will come up every this right here will come up every 8 hours. If you're playing professional, I'm in professional mode right now. It comes up every 24 hours. There is some subtle differences between both modes, but for the most part, it's the same. And so, this is my professional account that you're looking at right here. I don't have too much going on because professional is one of the biggest things is that this is played in real time. Okay, so those are my hubs that I have right now. I can only do so much because I do have to wait for money. Unlike Tycoon, it's seven game days in one real day. So, like the number one complaint is, y'all are waiting for stuff to happen. You have to be patient when you're playing Tycoon. The money will come in. Okay, so just be patient. Remember, it's an accelerated mode, so it doesn't take too long for things to happen, but you do have to wait. In professional, you don't have no choice. If something happens in 24 hours, I have to wait. So I have to wait 24 hours. But if I was to toggle to my Tycoon account, a lot more activity going on here, and you'll be able to see that when the screen comes up. The screen is pretty much full. I've been playing Tycoon now for over a year, so I've kind of stopped. I do play a couple things. I do add some planes to my hubs and whatnot, but really I kind of just play Tycoon while I'm waiting for things to happen in professional. Mostly just waiting for revenues to come in. Otherwise, I still play Tycoon. You can play both. It's no problem. You can just toggle between both of them. But one thing I was going to cover here, let me go back to my professional because it's a little bit easier to see what's going on here. Not too much things going on. When you first start off, you're given a choice to pick a hub. Okay. Now, you don't get this intel before you start the game. The game tutorial just tells you to pick a hub. So usually you're picking a hub of your favorite, where your hometown or wherever you live. You're just kind of just picking a hub that you like, not really realizing the hub you pick in this game really does matter how much revenue you want to make. It depends what strategy you're playing, right? You can see in my professional account, I don't have any hubs and nowhere else in the world except Africa. So now at the same time, if you're involved in any of the social media groups, whether you're on the Facebook or Reddit or Discord, you're going to hear a lot of people tell you, ooh, buy NPM, it's the gold standard. I'm not going to lie to you, it is the best hub in the game. However, if you're looking for economy demands of over 6,000-7,000, if you're playing professional, you can get some routes over 8,000. You're not going to see that right off the bat, and here is why. Because you don't have any staff. Okay, remember that when you first play this game, you're kind of playing with what you've got, the money you have, and you're just you just have to just play. You have to use with what you have on hand, and so there's, in my opinion, I don't think there's a bad hub. Okay, it just depends. Just to get the most out of that hub, you will hear other players say, you should do 168s. Okay, I'll cover that in a separate video, and then you know do 168s. You'll have people argue, no, 24-hour routes are better, blah blah blah. The reality is that when you start, you're doing anything at that point. Okay, so there's no good or bad for whatever method you're using. Just get planes in the air. My first hub in professional when I started this was actually Johannesburg, and Johannesburg was my first hub. Now, I did deliberately pick that hub because I already knew Johannesburg has decent demands on it, even without any staff being built. But you got to remember, if you're wanting to get the maximum passenger demands from MPM, being that that's the best hub, you need to build up your staff. You need to build up your services. So that brings up to this next thing. When you're building your staff, so when you look at your staff, you'll notice my staff, the only thing I have maxed out right now is entertainment. Okay, why? Because my strategy is long haul, high economy. That's my strategy. Other players are going to role play. If you want to role play, then that means you're going to be doing tri-class. You could be doing economy, but you're kind of leaning towards tri-class. You're actually sending business and first class passengers, and that's what tri-class is. You're kind of handling a little bit of everything. And so when you're doing, if you want to have really big numbers on the economy side, you need to max out your entertainment. Okay, and if you'll notice right here under your profile, you'll notice that you have these bars right here. Okay, these bars mean something. Okay, and you'll see entertainment, price attractive, punctuality, safety, comfort, all kinds of stuff going on here. Now, because I am doing long haul economy, I want to make sure I get the most out of my entertainment. Okay, now you're reading 931 out of 1,000. So let me break that down where that number is coming from. Right off the bat, when you start playing this game, every time you deliver a plane, this game assigns staff to you. You do not have any control over this. Okay, so every time you deliver a plane from this window, the first thing you need to do is immediately come to your staff. And then if you look right here, right here, you will see a pretty big number. Now, depending what plane you get is also going to decide how many employees you get. So again, when you're first starting off, don't expect this number to be big. Remember, you're starting, you're building things up. Be patient, okay? And this is the same thing with these people who just think that the Airbus 380 is the best thing since sliced bread, okay? You have to do a lot of unlocking before you get to that plane. But when you first start, you're kind of using the little planes. You're kind of building up so you can unlock. You know, you got to build your research dollars up here to unlock things. Unfortunately, you cannot research more than one thing at a time. The developers clearly thought that out. I mean, can you imagine if you can do the whole thing at once? I'd be done already. And then, you know, the game would kind of be boring. So it kind of forces you to stay on top of things. So it doesn't let you do more than one research. But you'll notice that I do have my entertainment maxed out, and the number you're seeing there is what? It's 500. In my opinion, and let me go ahead and I noticed I have 89. By the way, if you have any union workers on this side, you need to move them to employees. You cannot train anybody if they're agency workers. In the U.S., we call these guys union people, but agency is the same thing. So I need to come over here and just hire all of them. I'm not even going to care what it costs. You do not want to keep. You don't want to keep any agency workers because they cost too much. Okay. Now, once I have, let's say I delivered a plane and I got 89 employees, right? I just hired them. What I want to do now is that I want to go ahead and start assigning these these employees to whatever my strategy is, right? So again, I'm doing long haul high economy. So what I want to do is I want to start training for my entertainment. I want to max that out. Okay. Now the ratio, because this is one of the questions I get a lot, is, well, how many should I train? The ratio is very straightforward. It's 100 to 1. Okay. So 100 professionals to 1 manager. So in this case, you can clearly see I have 217 recruits. So what I'll do is that I will go ahead and hit recruits because my entertainment's maxed, but the next thing I want to do is punctuality. I do not have that maxed, and we can look at that here real quick. Let me go back, and you can see my punctuality is at 215. Okay. And so I want to max punctuality. Ancillary is almost maxed. If you want to fly classic planes, ancillary revenue is almost like an extra paycheck in your pocket. So you should always increase ancillary as well. So I need to work on this punctuality. So let me go to training and then hit recruits. Now remember, the ratio is 100 to 1. So when I go to recruits, I'll hit this button right here. And then what I'll do is that I'll go under punctuality, and then I will do 202. Why is that? Because remember, it's 100 professionals per 1 manager. If I've got 217, I can just throttle that down to 202. That way it's easy for me to remember. That way when this is over and I hit train, this process is going to take 1 hour. So now when I come back here, when this is done, okay, I can go ahead and move them from, what was it, entry level, I think. Oops. Not there. Sorry. Finger got away from me. Staff, training, and you can see I got 202 in training. So when I come back here, I'm going to hit professionals, and then when I do my professionals, I'll do the 202 again as a professional. But then when I move up another level, I'll only train 2 managers. Okay, so that's the thing that I always tell. It's very simple. Do not make this thing complicated, because it just isn't. Just remember 100 to 1. That's it. 100 professionals for 1 manager. Now, can you train more than that? Absolutely. But remember, it's going to cost you more money. Okay, I've even had some people tell me that they don't even train recruits. They jump right to professionals. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. I suppose the ratio is, I don't know why, I just think it's more expensive that way, but, to each his own. And so, the objective when you're training your people is to max that category out. Now, as far as strategy goes, if you're doing long haul, high economy, entertainment, punctuality is the 2 of them you want to max out. Okay. You should also work on ancillary. Honestly, in the employee section, you should have all these maxed out. Why? Because this is half of that 1,000. Remember when the profile you saw that thing on my case? I had 931. Okay, so half of that is 500, and that 500 is from my employees. So now the next question is, well, where did you get the difference? Where's the other half coming from? Well, that's the other part that you need to be aware of, and that's services. Now, the services I have maxed out. You can clearly see my entertainment says 400. My staff was 500. Okay, and there is the 931. Coupled with a couple of other little things I have in there. I got punctuality in there, ancillary. Okay, so that, but my strategy is very specific. Okay, yes, I do have a little bit of price attractiveness and safety, comfort. If you want to, so here's the breakdown of all these things. Entertainment and punctuality works good for long haul high economy. If you're looking at doing tri-class, if you want to have a lot of tri-class, business and first class, maybe not so much. You're going to have some decent economy, but your business and first class is going to be a little high as well. So you want to work on that safety. Okay, but this also applies where your hubs are at. See, everything comes full circle. Okay, if I'm doing tri-class, okay, you do not want to have any hubs. You do not want to have any hubs in Africa. Okay, Africa is the place to be if you want to do long haul high economy. Africa is your continent. Okay. If you want to do tri-class, the United States is your country. Actually, quite a few of them. Actually, you can do U.S., Canada, a lot of the big cities in Europe, like France, Italy, Spain. All these bigger, more modernized European cities, even some of the Russian cities. These are high tri-class. Okay. Then you get like somewhere. Oh, Japan. Japan is a good tri-class as well. Okay, Japan. Some of the Asian places, not all of them, of course. Singapore is another tri-class. Australia, Sydney, Melbourne, the Auckland, New Zealand. These are tri-class. And then when you get right in the middle is kind of Central America, South America. Okay, decent economy, but also some decent business and first class. Okay. Now, when you start to set up your services, if you set up your services for price attractiveness and safety, as well as a little bit of comfort, then you're clearly doing tri-class. Okay. Do not run that from Africa. Because I can tell you right now, there's a lot of hubs, if you run anything out of Africa and you're set up for tri-class, you're going to be very disappointed. Because a lot of the routes from the hubs in Africa hardly have any business or first class. I've had some routes that in business class, I might have like 10, and first class, it says 0. No joke. But then that's Africa. Africa is a high economy or a high eco. Okay. So you got to be careful where you do your hubs. Like there's a lot of people that are role playing. They're trying to be like British Airways or or Delta or something like that. And, they're not going to have any hubs in Africa. A lot of their stuff are all U.S., Canada, and Europe. Okay, so they're clearly doing tri-class. Now, you can fly from, say, DFW to, say, Africa, and you'll have some decent numbers on the tri-class. But that's because your hub is in the U.S. But if you do it the other way around, say my hub is in Africa and I'm flying to the U.S., sure, my economy is going to be pretty decent, but not business and first class. See how that works? So that's the thing that they really don't tell you when you first start this game is, they just tell you, hey, pick a first hub. And so you're kind of left holding the bag like, well, I think I'll pick this as my first hub. It's in my town, or it's, my favorite airport. And then you realize later, damn, I shouldn't have picked that hub. Don't worry about it. Do not sell it. Keep it. And here is why. Because you didn't have to pay for that hub to begin with. Remember, the first hub is free. So whatever hub you get, keep it. And then just try to make the most out of it. In my professional, my first hub here is actually Johannesburg. And I got MPM last because I finally have everything maxed out. I want to see big numbers from the moment I start MPM. Okay, so I deliberately did MPM later. Okay, but now if I show you my Tycoon account, my first hub here, believe it or not, was nowhere in Africa. It was actually JFK. And it's somewhere buried in here. There it is. There's JFK. That was my first hub. And then as you play, we're all going to have that one hub that's messed up. Okay? And what's the hub that's really messed up? Our first one. Right? Okay, I've got 24 hubs in my Tycoon. My balance, my research dollars, my coins, all that reflect that I've been playing this for a while. But, don't think that I got that overnight. Okay, you just keep playing. Just be patient, just play. Put the planes in the air, get things rolling. It's not going to be perfect when you start. You got to just start. Okay, don't focus on getting the Airbus 380. To begin with, you probably won't have any demands to fill it. I'll go over that in another video when I talk about the planes. Okay, so you got to be careful. The Airbus 380 there's no question that it is the best airplane in the game, but it is not the most profitable. I'll say that again. It is the best game. It is the best plane in the game, but it is not the most profitable. Because if you want to rank and pass players up, because that's what a lot of people like to do, they kind of like to rank up. Your return on your investment is key in this game, right? Your ROI. So the Airbus 380 costs what, $403 million each. Okay. When you first start, you don't have that kind of money. You just don't. You're saving everything for your first Airbus 380, and then you have nothing. Okay. You have 853 seats in that plane, but if you're new, you're going to find out real quick how the demands work, because it's really 853 times 2, right? So it's really 1705 or 1706. I'm just throwing that out of the blue sky. But remember, the flights are all round trip. So you need to have a minimum demands of at least 1705 on the economy to fill up that Airbus 380. And if you're just starting off and you start off in a tri-class, I guarantee you won't have that. So, you start off small and you kind of work your way. Going back to this services right here. Now, I am looking at the services in my other account, but it's kind of the same thing. 400. 400 is maxed out. Now, where do I get this? So you look at your partnership and you can see here, you know, the high end on your services are always going to be on your left. You see how that works? Do not click anything with the red numbers. Okay, especially for cargo. Okay, so did you notice this right here? It says passenger demand 0%. This is another question I'm asked a lot. Why does that say 0%? Well, I'm not doing cargo. Okay, yeah, I guess it's poor wording by the developers. I think they should have changed that wording. But if you got 0 on here, that's a good thing on where it says passenger demand. Because if you're doing cargo, if you're a cargo airline and you look at this stuff over here, look at my passenger demand. It says minus 5.9. It says minus 9. It's I can keep on going. You see all those red where it says passenger demand and there's a red negative value. Well, that will show up here under the passenger demand as a red negative value. But that's what you want if you're running a cargo airline. So I'm doing the minimum in cargo. Okay. Look at my cargo delivery and my other attractive. I'm just taking the max on the left side. See that? Other attractiveness 10, 20. It's nothing. I just gain. I'm not. Because if I go right, it's negative. So I maxed out the cargo service that it doesn't really hurt to do. Right? I'm not doing any cargo, but this is what happens. That cargo speed of plus 70, other attractiveness of plus 90, that gets added to this under staff of cargo and other attractiveness of that. So you add all that together, and then you come over here, and then that gives you those values there, the 646 and the 622. And you're like, well, I'm not doing cargo, but, yeah, that's okay. You don't have to do cargo. Let me show you what happens on the cargo. Even if you're not doing anything on cargo, but if you want to do a little cargo, look at that. 400, 500 tons. I'm never gonna fulfill that. I'm never gonna fulfill that. But it's there if I want it. If I want to do a couple of flights over cargo, for tax purposes, and you get a little bit of a tax break. Not much to scream at, I can tell you right now. But it helps. So. So yeah, I just wanted to just mention the staffing and the services. So it's on the staff side, whenever you deliver a plane, oh, look at that. Where did that 290 come from? Oh, this is on my professional. This is my Tycoon account. So I got 209. Oh, by the way, since I'm glad it's showing here, right? So it doesn't stop me from delivering planes just because I have everything maxed out here. You do not stop from getting employees when you deliver new planes. Okay, so here's a good example. I've been maxed out here for over a year. Okay, but I still play the Tycoon, so I still order 747s and the 96-300. I still order those planes, so when I deliver those planes, I'm going to get employees that come with it. So I still do have to hire them. Now, if you're maxed out, this is another question. What do I do with employees if I'm already maxed out? Hire them and keep them as recruits. That's it. Keep them as recruits. Look at that number on mine. I know some players that this is like in the 20 million. Okay, clearly higher rank than me, but yeah, and just keep them as recruits. You don't need to train anybody. You've already maxed everything out. But in my opinion, I think eventually, once you start getting into the swing of things, on the staff side, max that to 500. That will get added to your services to whatever you enable here. Oh, and by the way, if you accidentally enable a service, so let's say I do safety plus 10, which is kind of crazy. Would not want to do that. But let's just say I activate this and it was an accident. Okay, so you're kind of stuck with that for 24 hours before you can change it. Okay, so just be aware of that. It happens. I mean, that zero passenger demand that we saw earlier. I was wondering why that was just 0%, and I accidentally did something on the cargo side, and I found out real quick what that meant, because all my demands, all my flights suddenly were empty. I lost all my passenger demands for my flights. Luckily, I found that out very early in the game, so it wasn't a big deal. But yeah, I couldn't change it till the next day. So just be careful on that. And all you're doing is you're just activating that service, and then you're good. I won't do it, of course. But this is, you're picking, and the services that you're doing, again, is based on your strategy. So, again, when you're looking at, what strategy do you want to do? You want to do high economy, long haul, entertainment, punctuality, ancillary revenue is definitely the way to go. And then if you're doing tri-class, a little entertainment, a little price attractiveness, and safety is the way you go. When you do tri-class, you kind of working on all those values there. Real quick regarding costs and ancillary. So if you're one of these players that likes to fly the new fancy planes, and when I say that, I mean the Neos, the Airbus 380, the 747-800, the Airbus 380, not the 380, the 350, excuse me. The 350, what is the other? Oh, the 787. These are all, quote, new planes. So in your, let me jump to it, in your research, and I believe it's under general, and of course I have all mine unlocked. You need to work on this research right here. Okay. If you're going to use the newer planes, you need to unlock at least to level 3. Okay. It's not cheap. In fact, I don't remember. I have to go to my professional account because I don't even have this unlocked in that account. I'm not flying the new planes in my other account. So let me show you. Research. General. It was under general, wasn't it? Yeah. And you can see I'm still working on that one. Remember, this is in real time. In professional, so where the hell is it? Oh, I was under aircraft. Sorry about that. There we go. I think I just did the first one. So you can see here under the NGAF, the NGAF is it's pretty expensive, and it's going to take you a little while for you to save. 12 billion research dollars. But hey, if you do not unlock this, if you do not work on this, this is what's going to happen. So if you go to your buildings, and then you go to finances, and then you go to your cash account, and then do group flights. Let me do yesterday, I guess. Okay, and you'll see something like this. Okay, and then just tap on any one of the flights. It doesn't even matter. You see this right here? Other costs. Okay, now you notice how mine says 0? Okay, mine says 0. Okay, if you're flying a lot of these newer planes, like a lot of them, and you do not have any of the NGAF unlocked, expect to be paying an extra $150,000 per flight. Okay, it adds up. Now you'll notice that I didn't do that. I did ancillary revenue, and I get an extra little check out of that. So this is my turnover, and that turnover is based on 428,120 for the passengers, but I got an extra 130 grand out of that just because I have ancillary unlocked. Okay? You do not get any ancillary revenue if you're flying a newer plane and you haven't unlocked any of the NGAF levels. Okay, so just watch out for that. Now that you may or may not know about this, if you're new, I guarantee you probably didn't know, and you're probably right now going to this little window in your game, and you're like, holy shit, I need to unlock NGAF. Yeah, you do. So, unfortunately, it takes a little while to unlock that one because they're kind of pricey. I mean, you saw even in mine, I only have the first one unlocked. I think the first one was $1 billion. I'm not really rushing on this yet because most of my planes are the older planes. I'm flying those planes because they're cheap. But that's because I'm in professional. It takes a little longer on this game mode to wait for everything. But I can still show you this in Tycoon, and you'll see the same thing there. Now, in my Tycoon, I have all of them unlocked, but that's because I've been playing that game, that mode for a long time. So if I went to service, I think I already showed it to you, but I'll show it to you again. General, and then I have all 4 of them unlocked. Just FYI on how to read this. So you have 4 levels. And the first one is, obviously you want 100%. So the first one is 25%, second one is 50%, third one is 75%, and the last one's 100%. Okay. I noticed that I started to get 0 after the third one. But it really wasn't a big deal for me. When I first started playing this game, I was like many of you. I had plane types all across the board. I had 350s, I had 777s, I had 787s, Airbus 380s. And then I kind of got bored with the game, so what I did as a new challenge, I went ahead and restructured the entire airline to where I can use a smaller aircraft type. And I just went with 747-200. And then when they came out with the 96300, the Russian plane, I used that plane to pick up the rest of the demands because it's a smaller plane. It's a 300-seat plane, but remember, it's 600 for demands, so 300 going, 300 coming. And so it wasn't a big deal, but I went ahead and did that. But just FYI, where you can see your other costs, hit the buildings, hit finances, hit cash account. If you see flight results for the day, make sure you hit where it says group flights on the bottom, hit individual, and then just tap on any one of the routes. Okay. And so that's going to give you, man, look at the ancillary on this flight. See, this is the older plane. Almost $500,000 on one flight for doing nothing. No other costs here. 0 right here. Okay, so, but yeah, I mean, that's how you want to look at it. If you want to get into the nitty gritty of what's going on, how you're getting charged with everything, your fuel costs, that kind of airport taxes. Uh, so yeah, and that's where your services and your employees come in. So always make sure you do that. Remember, you get employees every time you deliver a plane. When you deliver that plane, get into the habit. Get into the habit. Once you deliver a plane, go straight to the buildings and hire them. Move them from agency to employees, and then you can train them. Okay, so and and obviously entertainment, punctuality will help you with the high economy and the long haul passenger demand. If you want to do tri-class, then it would be kind of a little bit of everything: punctuality, comfort. Comfort, I didn't really talk about comfort on here, but comfort allows you to raise your tickets. Okay, so you can raise your tickets. Oh my God, it's just so funny. Like today's date is June 9, 2021. I just read some guy that he just increased his price ticket from $2,000 to $9,000. Guys, you can't do that. You cannot just come over here, and I'm just going to pick any flight. It doesn't matter. And let's say PVG. I'm just going to hit PVG, Shanghai. You come to prices. Okay. You cannot just come over here and do that. Okay, you can't. Okay. For one thing, if you did that, you better run a simulation. Okay. Basically, the simulation will tell you what your new demands will be and what your new pricing or your new revenue potentially can be if the ticket was $9,000. And from 4,000 to 9, I can tell you right now that's going to be a negative number. And if you don't believe me, I'll show you right now. There you go. Okay, basically that plane will be flying empty. You cannot do crazy things like that. There is an algorithm that dictates your prices of your tickets based on the distance and your comfort level. Okay, your comfort level is this right here. So in case you want to know what your comfort level is, mine is 600. Okay, everybody's comfort level will be a little different. So where did that 600 for me come from? Well, I can tell you right now, 500 came from the staff. Remember, I told you staff, you should max everything. So that's the 500 from that. But what I did do, and before you ask the next question is can I make all of these 1,000? You cannot make them all 1,000. There's some give and take. Okay. I wanted to raise my tickets a little bit. I had to eat. I had to make a trade-off with some entertainment to increase my comfort. So I lowered my entertainment just a little bit so I can gain more comfort. Okay? If I lower my entertainment more, I can increase my comfort. You see what I'm saying? So, and how do you know they overlap each other? Well, it's obvious. When you come to your services and you look at some of these things right here, you'll notice how this top one says punctuality 20, but look at the other side. It says safety 20. The second one says price attractive 30. The other end is entertainment 30. Look at this one. This is price. Ancillary revenue and expenses. Expenses is the same for costs. 70.35. Okay, I can keep going. I can keep going. I'm looking for comfort. Sorry about that. I was kind of hoping I'd got lucky and none here. Now you see, I won't do comfort on this. You see where it says toilet? You see it says ancillary revenue and expenses is giving me a value there. But you look on the very far right, it says comfort plus 20. But look at the expenses. It's plus 10. So you see how there's a little trade-off there. So that's why I'm saying you got to be careful which one you select. There's the one. There's the only one I did. Okay. I went comfort 100, but I think that's a plus 50. But it balanced out for me because I have the ancillary revenue very high. So it kind of balances out. Okay. So when you start looking at your ticket prices, do not do what I did when I first started, which is what I know he noticed that it didn't work, which is why he's not responding. But I wasn't trying to say anything bad, but I just said you can't do it. The game doesn't work like that. Just because it says value doesn't mean you can just change it to whatever you want, because if that was the case, we would all do it, right? I'm going to make all my tickets $10,000, right? It doesn't work like that. So, and you can see here, my recommended for this particular flight was $37.81, but then you'll notice the price I put in was $38.73. Well, that's because my comfort level went up. So this was the minimum, and then this is the higher end. But that's what the audit's for. Okay, and then you have the simulation. So if I wanted to bring this to, say, $4,000, which I know I can't. So I always do it this way. For every passenger, you can probably factor like maybe $1 or $2. Okay, you're probably going to get maybe $2 or $3 the most. I've been playing this. I've been playing with this for so long that I have an Excel spreadsheet of that. I don't do this. I don't do none of these three things anymore. I have all these things in an Excel spreadsheet where I put in the distance of PVG and then my comfort level, and then it tells me the highest amount that I can have for that ticket based on my comfort level. Now, it says maximum turnover. Okay, this is the amount I will make assuming I take everybody. It doesn't mean this is what I'm making on this flight. That's not how you read that. It's maximum turnover. Okay, assuming I take the rest of these 63 passengers, then I make the 21,119. That's the number that you're seeing here. Kind of poor wording. I think they could have changed that wording a little different, but that's how you read that. Okay. Now, in my case, I don't have any planes that I can fit this in. So obviously for this route, assuming it's balanced all week, be very careful if you're changing prices in your routes that you obviously cannot put a flight in it. You can't put it in a plane. Okay, that's why the 168s are so valuable. Okay, you want to because if you change the price, it applies all week. And what day am I looking at right here? Well, right now, if I hit today, that's this button right here. Okay, if I go to Monday, better be 63. Tuesday, 63. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, today, and then Sunday. So guess what? I can change the ticket of this and apply it, and I can zero this out. Now, I'm probably not going to be able to get this to $4,000. Just for fun, I'll do 3,900. because 3,900 is more believable. I can run a simulation if I want to. It basically gives me my answers that I need. But I've got so many simulations that I don't use. Look at that. 39 was too much. Look at my demands. It went negative 63. So that means I need to lower this to... And you see, here's where you got to play with the numbers. I'll do 38.50. No, that's not going to work. Oh, that's another thing. Do not lower your price to give yourself more demands. Don't ever do that. Always increase your ticket. Never drop it. So, what was that? 39. I'll go... I think I did 50, but I'll do 80. Let's just see what it gives me. Oof. That was too much. See, I still didn't like it. Not a big deal. I mean, I'm not worried about it. I'm just kind of showing you how this works. What did I have in there? 3,600. I forgot what I had in there. Oh, 38. Okay. Yeah, so I kind of figured if I did, I'm betting if I do 38, 38, 80, maybe 85, I might get it down a little bit. Yeah, you see how it's going down? 90. And so this is going to depend on, yeah, see, that's not going to work. Let me go back to, yeah, how about 88? Yeah. See, so now you got to start playing with the numbers. 86. But this is why I have the Excel spreadsheet. Yep, there you go. 2. Okay. I'm probably never going to fill the business in first class. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I don't need to mess with that. But now if I go ahead and hit validate, see, this is where you got to be careful. This is where you got to be careful with the numbers you put in. Remember, nothing goes in until you hit the word validate. And once you hit validate and then you realize you screwed up, that's when you have to wait 24 hours before you can fix it. I did this by accident on a route I had been doing a bunch of them. And so I fat fingered something. I think economy. Instead of 3,000, I think I put 13,000 by accident. I put the 1 in there. And I saw everything go red. I was like, oh my God, where's that coming from? But luckily, it was an obvious catch because everything was red. I was basically flying a ghost plane for 24 hours. The other thing to be careful, make sure your demands are the same every day. Okay? If they're not, then don't touch it. Either that or you got to learn how to do a 168. That's why I don't like these 24-hour routes and all these weird, because all you're doing is you're doing this in one plane. Okay, you're not doing it. You're basically one plane means one day. So you're not really filling that plane every day all week. So that's why the 168 with the 7 planes is really good because you're shifting every route every single day of the week, and your routes go down evenly. Okay, I'm gonna go over that in more detail in another video. Okay, so I think I've said enough here. In any case, well, I hope it was enjoyable. So I just really wanted to just touch base with this to see where you guys are at, and there's some new stuff that are out in here, but yeah, we'll go over some of these new features like the hubs and moving stuff around. I'll show you how to do stuff on the web, but I just want to cover real quick here. This seems to be the biggest thing with the staffing because a lot of people want the high numbers. Okay, you're not going to get a high economy demand if your hub is in Oklahoma. Okay, you got to take it to Africa. But on the other hand, if you want to do tri-class, sure, Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, there's nothing wrong with that. But all right then. So anyway, I hope the video was informative, and I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Later, guys.